I was born in 1973, right in the middle of the gas shortages, the rotary phones, and the Jell-O molds with everything you could imagine in them. But you know what else we had? Families who could run an entire household on one income, stretch every dollar, and make do without needing 10 different streaming subscriptions or a $6 latte every day. And looking back, I realized something important. The way people saved money in the 70s might just be the answer to surviving 2025. But we've all forgotten almost all of it. We're drowning in subscriptions, buying new instead of fixing, and spending more than ever just to maintain a lifestyle our parents managed with a fraction of the income. So I dug up the 19 very specific money-saving habits that people used in the 70s, and more importantly, how they could still work today. Hey, my friend, I'm Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm the owner of FrozenPennies.com. I'm a financial coach and the author of the international best-selling book, Fundamentally Frugal. Link below. No vague advice here, people, with practical and tangible ways to use these vintage tips today. These are concrete frugal hacks from a time when thrift wasn't trendy, it was necessary. Sewing Halloween costumes and school clothes. Fabric was inexpensive, patterns were widely available, and there was a cultural expectation that homemakers would have basic sewing skills. Department store clothes were seen as special or holidays for big events, and not something to purchase regularly for growing kids. A single butterick pattern could be reused for years with minor alterations. Instead of buying new clothes for every school year or holiday, families spent a fraction of the cost sewing outfits from scratch or upcycling household textiles like sheets or curtains. Sewing also extended the life of clothing throughout repairs and alterations. Sewing offers control over quality and style, reduces dependence on fast fashion, and teaches a valuable skill. In 2025, there's also a sustainability bonus. Making your own clothes or altering thrift finds help reduce textile wastes. Plus, Halloween costumes are notoriously overpriced. Homemade ones can cost a tenth and be far more creative. Now, I can tell you this. I remember one time when I was it might have been my first Halloween, maybe my second, where my mom bought me a Tinkerbell costume. It was the plastic mask with the plastic vinyl printed Tinkerbell dress, and it tied in the back. And honestly, that is the only time I ever remember having a store-bought costume. All through elementary, all through middle, and even through high school, we always created our own costumes. Whether it was going to the thrift store to grab something vintage from the 1970s if we wanted a disco theme, or going as a baby, even Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, my mom made the dress. Listening to the radio instead of buying music or streaming. Before digital libraries and streaming subscriptions, the radio was the go-to source for music discovery and entertainment. People waited for the weekly Top 40 countdown or a DJ's set list to hear new songs, often recording them on cassette tapes. It was free, accessible, and part of the cultural fabric. Everyone had their station. Mine, Fly 92. There were no reoccurring payments, no record purchases necessary unless you really loved the album, and no device requirements beyond a basic radio. It also discouraged mindless listening and encouraged appreciation for the music. Streaming subscriptions now average $10 to $15 per month per service. Free radio apps or ad-supported playlists are easy ways to reduce or eliminate these costs. It also helps curb subscription fatigue and narrows the overwhelming digital noise. Now, we still have CDs. A couple of the vehicles that we own actually still have a CD player. And I have gotten to the point in my life where I enjoy the classics of yesterday more than I enjoy the hits of today. Now, I do have my favorites from today. I'm a Jonas Brothers fan. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I think they're fantastic. But the majority of my music that I'm listening to happens to be from the late 70s. I really enjoy the music from that decade. So why spend money on a streaming service if you already own the music that you love anyway? Saving bacon grease in a tin can. Resourcefulness was key to running a tight household. Bacon was a common breakfast food, and the grease it left behind was too valuable to waste. Rather than buying additional oils or butter, people saved what they already had and passed down cooking methods that relied on it. Families could go weeks without buying butter, lard, or oil, by just reusing the bacon fat in cooking. It's seasoned beans, cornbread, sauteed vegetables, and even popped popcorn. If you've never had popped popcorn with bacon grease, you're missing out. It's turning a waste product into an asset. In today's economy, where food prices have jumped significantly, reducing dependence on store-bought oils and learning how to make the most of every ingredient is pretty smart. Plus, bacon fat adds flavor that would otherwise come from expensive seasonings or pre-made mixes. Saving and reusing everything: containers, bags, and tins. The use it up, wear it out, make do, or do without mindset was still strong post-Depression and post-war. Families reused margarine tubs, coffee cans, and bread bags, and no one thought it was odd. It was just practical. I remember as a little girl, my mom putting bread bags on my feet inside my winter boots to go out to play in order to keep my feet dry. Buying storage containers, plastic wrap, or Ziploc bags was unnecessary when you could use what you already had. Kids' lunches were packed in reusable containers. Sewing supplies or extras like holiday cookies were stored in old tins, not fancy containers. Repurposing packaging reduces spending on kitchen goods, storage items, and single-use plastics. It's also a sustainability win, helping keep usable plastics and materials out of landfills and your wallet fuller. Now, how many of you had grandparents you never know what was in their refrigerator because it was in a leftover butter container, yogurt container, sour cream container? My grandma used to write on it with a marker so she knew what was in it. Carpooling and trip chaining. Gas prices skyrocketed during the 1973 oil crisis, and driving became more of a luxury than a convenience. As a result, many families coordinated rides, consolidated errands, and planned every trip carefully. Every gallon saved was money in the bank. Carpooling cut commuting costs in half or more, and fewer trips meant less gas, less wear on the car, and fewer impulse buys. With fuel prices remaining volatile, this habit can significantly reduce monthly transportation expenses. If you can group errands by location, use route planning apps, and then coordinate with friends, coworkers, and neighbors, it's also better for the planet and your schedule. Now, where we live, I know I've said this before, but we have to kind of batch our errands because the closest grocery store, discount store, Walmart, Target is about 20 minutes away, depending on which direction that you go. So for us, batching our errands is just something that we've always done. What about using Layaway? Credit cards were not common for most households back in the 1970s. Layaway allowed consumers to pay gradually without going into debt. It required planning and patience, but it kept spending aligned with actual income. Many times there was no interest or late fees, and because you didn't receive the item until it was fully paid, impulse spending was limited. You were more intentional with your purchases. Now, while traditional layaway is nearly extinct, the idea of delayed gratification is powerful. Instead of using buy now, pay later services, which can lead to debt, create your own layaway by setting up a sinking fund or automatic savings transfer for big purchases. Now, I can tell you this. My husband and I, this past week, we were shopping around for furniture. We're looking for a new furniture for the living room. We've been saving for it for about 6 months now, and we wanted to get a feel of what was out there. We went to a privately owned furniture store, not a big Raymore and Flanagan, not a big box store for furniture, but a privately owned furniture store. And they actually still have layaway. I was so impressed and excited to hear that. I couldn't wait to come home and do this video and share that with you. If you're looking for a layaway option, check privately owned businesses. Stretching meat with fillers. Meat was one of the most expensive grocery items, as it still is, and families often couldn't afford to serve large portions of it regularly. To make a pound of ground beef go further, cooks incorporated fillers like oats, breadcrumbs, rice, beans, or even shredded vegetables. It was common practice in meals like meatloaf, tacos, casseroles, and spaghetti sauce. Stretching a single pound of ground meat into 2 or 3 meals drastically reduces the cost per serving. Instead of needing 3 pounds of meat a week, a family could get by with 1 and supplement with pantry staples. Now, this technique is still practical today, especially with rising meat prices. Swapping in mushrooms, lentils, or black beans can cut grocery costs and boost fiber intake. It's also an eco-conscious move. Reducing meat consumptions lower your environmental impact. Cutting hair at home. Barbershops and salons were saved for special occasions for adults. Most parents gave their kids haircuts at home using clippers and a pair of good scissors. It was considered a rite of passage in many homes to get your kitchen haircut before school picture day. Now, a family with multiple kids could easily spend $100+ per month on haircuts today. Easily spend $100 per month on haircuts. Doing it at home cuts cost to near zero after the investment of the tools. With the wealth of YouTube tutorials and inexpensive high-quality hair clippers available, at-home haircuts are easier than ever. Even alternating between salon visits and DIY trims can slash your annual grooming budget. Now, I can remember when I was a little girl, my mom always cut my hair. Now, I had longer hair and bangs. So my mom would always cut my hair, cut my bangs, eyebrow level. How many of us have pictures, school pictures of us with really bad haircuts? Recording TV shows on VHS and skipping cable. Cable TV wasn't widespread yet, and most families relied on free broadcast channels via antennas or rabbit ears. When VCRs became more accessible around 1975, people recorded their favorite shows on VHS tapes to watch later, effectively time-shifting TV for free. No monthly cable subscriptions, no purchasing shows or movies. The family could enjoy entertainment without the recurring costs. Now, you can still skip streaming subscriptions by using a digital antenna to get free local channels. And apps like Pluto TV, Tubi, Crackle, and PBS even offer tons of shows and movies without a dime spent. Just like the old days, but on demand. Making KoolAid instead of buying juice or soda. Soft drinks and juices were considered luxuries in the 1970s, not lunchbox staples. KoolAid packets, at just a few cents each, offered a fun, fruity drink that kids loved and parents could afford. A single packet could make 2 quarts of a drink, especially when you added extra water and used less sugar. It replaced far more expensive store-bought beverages and stretched a grocery budget. Cutting back on juice boxes, bottled drinks, or flavored waters can save families hundreds of dollars every year. Today, try drink powders, infused waters, or big batch homemade lemonade for affordable alternatives to sugar and single-use drinks. My grandma used to always have a big gallon jug of iced tea, super cheap. Clipping coupons from the Sunday paper. The Sunday newspaper was a gold mine of savings, stuffed with coupons for household goods, pantry staples, and toiletries. Shoppers organized them in folders and often coordinated entire grocery trips around the deals. Families saved $5 to $20 per week or more just by stacking coupons on sales. Some stores even offered double or triple coupon days, making things nearly free. It was a structured, intentional way to lower food bills. Now, digital couponing is easier than ever with apps like Flip, Ibotta, Fetch, or store apps like Target Circle. Planning your meals around what's on sale, just like they did with paper flyers, is still a winning strategy. I know that the stores that I normally shop in have an app, and on that app, they have a section just for coupons. So you can very easily go through and click on the coupons that you want to use for that store. Recovering or reupholstering furniture. Furniture wasn't tossed at the first sign of wear back in the day. It was fixed. Reupholstering or covering couches and chairs extended their life dramatically. People often sewed slipcovers, replaced cushions, or even used clear plastic to protect furniture. An unmistakable 70s truck, especially in an Italian grandma's household. Instead of dropping hundreds on new furniture, families spent a fraction on fabric and tools. DIY projects breathed new life into existing pieces and delayed big purchases for years. Thrift flipping and DIY reupholstering are more accessible now with tutorials and community marketplaces. Even small update. New legs, painted legs, throw pillows, a cover can transform a piece for under $50. Joining a freezer club, buying meat in bulk, like half a cow, was a huge savings opportunity, especially when split between several families. Groups would pool money, purchase large quantities directly from farmers or butchers, and divide the portions among themselves. Bulk meat was just cheaper per pound, as it is today, and splitting the cost meant even families with limited cash could access better quality at a lower price. The meat was frozen and rationed throughout the year, helping with both budgeting and meal planning. Form your own modern freezer club by splitting a Costco or local farm bulk meat order with friends or neighbors. Investing in a chest freezer pays for itself quickly and lets you take advantage of flash sales or meat shares from local producers. Home perms and box hair dyes. Salon visits were expensive, as we talked about when we talked about haircuts. They're time-consuming and viewed as an occasional treat rather than routine maintenance. Women often gathered in groups, sisters, friends, neighbors, to apply perms and hair dye kits at home. Brands like Tony and Miss Clairol became household names, and the home beauty night was both a budget move and a social event. A home perm or dye kit cost a small fraction of a salon treatment. Even if the results were hit or miss, it kept beauty routines accessible to women on tight budgets. A DIY hair color has come a long way. Many kits now include toners, conditioning treatments, and less damaging formulas. Root touch-up kits, semi-permanents, and gloss treatments can delay or even replace salon visits, saving hundreds per year. We learned this during the pandemic. Using bar soaps and homemade cleaners. Liquid soaps and specialty cleaners were either unavailable or considered unnecessary. Bar soaps like Ivory or Dial did the job for body, face, and hands. Likewise, homemade cleaning solutions, vinegar, baking soda, and ammonia, were cheaper and effective for everything from windows to floors. Families avoided buying multiple cleaning products for different purposes. A few multi-use ingredients cleaned the entire house. Bar soap lasted longer and didn't come with plastic packaging. And did you know that bar soap is actually trending again for its zero-waste, low-cost appeal? Homemade cleaners are still incredibly effective, and many people now mix essential oils with vinegar or Castile soap for custom cleaning blends. The savings on store-bought cleaning products can add up really fast, especially in large households. Making homemade baby formula or rice cereal. Before commercial baby food was widely marketed or trusted, many parents relied on passed-down recipes for formula and baby cereals. Homemade rice cereal made by grinding rice or oats and boiling it was a weaning staple. Store-bought baby food and formula were expensive and less accessible. Homemade options used pantry basics and let parents control ingredients and costs. Now, I am pretty sure that my baby formula was carnation powdered milk, Caro syrup, and warm water. While homemade formula is not recommended today for health reasons, you can still save by making baby food at home using steamed fruits, veggies, and grains. Batch cooking and freezing portions in ice cube trays makes feeding babies healthier, cheaper, and less wasteful. There's also a trending topic of baby-led weaning, which means you allow your baby to choose when they want to start eating real food. Trading books and magazines with friends. Books and magazine subscriptions were a luxury item in many households. To stretch their entertainment budgets, families swapped novels, comics, and magazines with friends, neighbors, and extended family. Book baskets or small lending libraries popped up in churches, salons, and workplaces. Instead of buying new reading material, people read what others had already finished for free. A single subscription could serve multiple households. Today, you can recreate this with the little free libraries, office book swaps, or neighborhood reading groups. Apps like Libby or Hoopla allow you to borrow ebooks and audiobooks from your local library for free without ever leaving your house. Taking Navy showers to save water and heat. The energy crisis in the early 70s led to a major public awareness campaign about energy conservation. The Navy shower method, turning the water off while lathering and only on to rinse, was encouraged to save hot water and reduce electric or gas usage from water heaters. Reducing shower time slashed water heating costs, especially in homes with electric heaters. Now, over the course of the year, this translated into serious utility bill savings. Try a 5-minute shower challenge or install a low-flow shower head to instantly reduce water and energy bills. Some families rotate quick shower days during the week to minimize usage while keeping hygiene on track. Also, there's no reason for most of us to shower every day. Consider skipping a day in between showers. DIY birthday parties at home. There were no birthday venues with bounce houses or themed entertainment packages when I was a kid. Birthday celebrations were simple affairs held at home, often in the backyard or living room with a homemade cake, decorations from the dime store, and classic party games. No venue rental, no catering, no entertainment costs. Everything was homemade or reused from previous parties. Gifts were modest, and no one expected a Pinterest-perfect aesthetic. Bring back the charm of a homemade party by baking your own cake, using printable decorations, and planning an old-school games like musical chairs or scavenger hunts. Hosting at home or at the park can cut party costs from hundreds to under $50 and make for a more meaningful, personal memory birthday. It's easy to think the past has nothing to teach us, but the truth is, the folks living in the 1970s had to get really good at doing more with less. They weren't clipping coupons for fun or baking bread because it was trendy. They were doing it because it made sense. And somehow they made it all work without apps, side hustles, or a single budgeting spreadsheet. We don't have to go back to avocado green kitchens or shag carpets if we don't want to, but we can bring back the mindset, making it last, fix it first, waste nothing, and save with intention. Now, I was born in 1973, and I can tell you, the further we move from those habits, the more we realize how much they got right. So if you want to spend smarter, stress less, and maybe even slow down a little, start by stealing a few more money-saving habits from the past. They've stood the test of time, and honestly, we could use them now more than ever. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.